There are 1,000,000 ways to die. We just wanna talk about it. CodeHeads.
Well, here we are back
Here
on
we are.
CodeHeads. And we were last time we were doing our kind of initial feedback, thoughts, feelings
Mm.
on the AJ guidelines for 2025. Want to kind of do an overview, breaking it down just a little bit on what's new, why it matters, what we're feeling, what it means for rescuers. And we just did, I think we got a little bit deeper than we wanted to, but we are just doing initial thoughts and feelings, and we are going to do deep dives subsequently. So we just wanted to hit a couple more of our biggest topics that we kind of resonated with us, and then we're going to get into them deeper next episodes. Mike,
Yes.
community, well, healthcare disparity, I should say. Community CPR, healthcare disparity, health equity. What are our thoughts and feelings on that?
Well, again, we will be dedicating an episode entirely to this, if not multiple.
Yeah.
My feeling is I feel strongly about it. Disparity of care due to multiple reasons, socioeconomic disadvantage, location. It upsets me because I feel like we could definitely be doing more to bring basic CPR training to the communities.
Yep.
Where now it's accessible. Again, it depends on your locale.
It costs money.
It's expensive. The equipment's very expensive that we
To
utilize.
teach it is expensive, and to take a course. I mean, if you go and just Google first aid courses, or, which is what most lay people would want to be taking, or Heart Saver, or,
Yes.
whatever, depending what entity you're getting certified through, it's expensive. It can be like $150, and people who are struggling to put food on the table aren't going to be spending $150 to get a certification card for CPR. It doesn't need to be that, and you don't need a card to,
You don't need a card.
you know,
And I'm totally willing to, offer my services for free to teach it without
say
providing a card. You don't need the card. You'll be just as capable without the card.
correct. It's just a piece of paper
You
as
don't
a
need
layperson.
right.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like what I like is, especially the Heart Saver classes, I love community CPR, is watching them when they leave feeling empowered.
Yep.
And that's my reward. Is now I just have 10 people leaving here that didn't have a clue about what to do if someone drops in front of them. And I'm confident that they could now all respond.
Yep.
That's major.
It's huge.
Like, I
So
just want to spread the gospel. I truly do. I want
Yeah.
to get out there and just show people. I mean, our numbers will go up and show people what you can do. You don't just wait for the ambulance, for 5-7 minutes. That's way too long. Get started, because we're going to do the same thing you're going to do when we get there.
Agreed. And I will say, though, I am very happy that they added it into the guidelines.
Me
because
too. I'm
every
thrilled.
other area of healthcare has been focusing on disparity, healthcare equity for years. We're all collecting data. We're all trying to support patients in different areas of health and wellness. Lovely that they are adding that in.
I'm delighted. I'm delighted because this
And I
is
think
so
that the
important.
community needs to, the community of us, of
Right.
CodeHeads, of people who, have these skills and the knowledge, and they teach and train. We need to be able to get more into the communities. And, I think that maybe it's a time for a call to action that hospitals
Yes.
and local governments are maybe putting funding into it to support the equipment. It's not that they have to like pay a you or a me, but we do need some things and stuff. And people are very innovative. We don't need these fancy mannequins. We don't need all these, fancy things to train for community CPR. We just need we just need butts and seats. We just need to get people in the door, and then they'll give us an hour of your time and we'll show you how to do compressions. We'll talk you through everything and
Yep.
you will walk out of there feeling like you know what to do and wanting to use your skills.
You absolutely will want to use them when something happens.
And the follow-up though is like then because I do feel like sometimes like people will get, they're like, "Oh, I was CPR certified 25 years ago."
Yeah, exactly.
We need we need to keep up skills. But that's the other flip side is that they were like, "Hey, how do we get technology?" And there's technology out there. There are a lot of there's a couple, and actually I'm hoping to get someone on the show to talk with us, but there's a lot out there that we can do to support the community and to, help them and to reiterate skills and to get them to like push on whatever, a couch cushion, whatever is like kind of squishy that they can check their skills
Right.
and do it.
I think removing the intimidation as well,
Mhm.
that people, if they don't know how to do it, they just want to, again, wait for the professionals to arrive. But it's important that we impress upon them what those minutes mean when you're not doing anything. When that
Right.
heart stops, the clock is ticking.
Correct.
And we all know what that means. You know,
Yep.
we have to act immediately. And if they know that, if they have the confidence to participate, to be, to get down there and really just simple skills, studies shown right here, if a 12-year-old can handle this form of education and actually
Yeah.
be able to do the compressions, do the ventilations. So if a 12-year-old can manage it, in terms of acumen, we could bring this into the community and everyone can do it. And even so, what if we, you deliver a class to the community, they'll tell their friends.
Yep.
They could even show their friends, so
Yeah.
there's, you know, more commonplace, just a more commonplace, type of education and awareness.
And yeah, and it's the awareness because it's breaking away, people are so worried, "Oh, well, I'm gonna get sued." No, you're
Or,
not.
or it's a
No.
female. I don't, men don't want to perform on females. We need more female
Right?
mannequins, frankly. But,
Oh, there's a thing you can get to actually put on mannequins that gives it
we'll
breasts.
do it because
Yeah.
I've never used that. And I think that's another reason people are hesitant to approach.
Yep, because and they don't wanna take the tops off to, like, then place the
No.
AED, and it was funny because I'm teaching a course and I was saying, females in public that perceived females in public tend to get delayed CPR if
Yes.
any at all by bystanders. And then, people are not, delayed if not at all using the AED. And they were like, why? And I was like, well, they have these things called breasts. They all stared at me. They were like, seriously? And I was like, yeah. I said, people don't, and I said, Americans are weird about nudity. Like, rip that top off.
You
Like,
got to
I
expose
can
everyone.
guarantee you, I could care less. If I'm in sudden cardiac arrest, rip my clothes off. Don't
You
care.
got to find your landmark.
You
How you,
got
you
it.
know,
And,
how you
and
going
I want you to save my life. I don't care who sees my boobs. Couldn't care
no.
less.
So
Really.
absolutely. Absolutely. This, yeah, this is something I'm quite passionate about. And I look forward to
Agreed.
really looking for really tangible ways, not just talking about it in theory, about
No, but
getting
really,
this into these
yeah.
communities where, they deserve it. Frankly, they deserve it as much as anyone else.
Yep.
And let's
Because
empower them all.
being able to save a life should not be just for the privileged. Like
Right.
there's too much that's like, oh, that's your privilege. That's your, and I agree with that. This is not something. This is a skill that everyone should have because
Mhm.
everyone can be in an emergency situation. Anyone can drop of sudden cardiac arrest. Kids playing sports, they should have access to AEDs. They should know how to use them, and they should be able to do compressions. And that's the bottom line.
Yes. Mhm.
And yeah, and we're period, period,
Here.
amen. We're done with that.
Get to it later, but we're done with
We
it.
will talk more. Yeah, we'll talk more about that later.
What else we
What?
got?
Well, I think kind of broaching off that, I think we wanted to talk a little bit about the opioids, the Narcan. Yeah?
Okay. I'm just going to turn to that page, a little unprofessional, I know, but
Okay.
I have I have a take. Actually, I'm not going to look at the page. This will be
Okay.
really quick diatribe. So my take is, and people are going to say, I'm very, all right, we give breaths because they're in respiratory failure. They're breathing about 4 to 6 times per minute. So we need to give them
Mhm.
pardon me. And we need to give them Narcan.
Yep.
So One thing, though, that I find is not incorporated into these classes, and I'm talking about the lay rescuer.
Mhm.
So they're encouraging the lay rescuer to provide rest and to administer Narcan.
Yep.
That's great. I'm all for it. That's the spirit of the guideline is absolutely correct. However, what I emphasize in my classes, but it's not done routinely in other courses I know, is the safety factor. All
Mhm.
right. You need to be prepared for what you're entering into. These are often volatile scenes. I've seen it hundreds of times. We are offering a medication that is an opiate antagonist. It's going to immediately take them, if they, revive,
Right.
immediately take them away from this blissful paradise and into this world where, they're hypoxic, they're cold, they're nauseous, like an immediate reversal. It's stunning. You're surrounded by people you don't know. You do not know how these people are going to act.
Yep.
Okay? Safety.
Mhm.
There are needles. They don't mean to leave needles around, but they're there. They're underneath. They're to the side. I've been stuck because I was, too careless. So
Mhm.
seizures, violence. I mean, this really needs to be part of the classes, the situational awareness aspect. So I appreciate the widespread campaign. It's on billboards here in my town. Step up, save a life. Absolutely. Let's step up with, the knowledge about
Yeah.
what you're entering into. PPE. Do you have gloves? Like what? I mean, there's so much to be concerned about. So I don't want people to think, oh, Mike, you don't want to help these people. Yes, I absolutely do. However, it's important for me to communicate what you're walking into or potentially walking into.
And I
Previous-
think you're spot on. And I always, you and I have taught a lot together, and I do the same. I'm on the same soapbox as you when I'm teaching, is that you need to be, look out for your own safety. And that includes needles. And that includes, like, you know, even if someone's choking or whatever, people can be violent. Like, you can, if someone is choking and you're saying, I'm going to go help you, and then they start like flipping out on you, you say, okay, I'm going to
Biting
wait
you?
till you stop breathing then, and then I'll do compressions. We can do it,
Yeah.
one of two ways, friend. And then the same with an OD. Like, if you give Narcan, all of a sudden they are in immediate, that whatever they took, that opioid is gone, and it's only for,
Oxygen
you
deprived
know,
brain, very
yeah,
angry, not
yeah,
a happy
they
brain.
go to that flight, fight or flight, and they're gonna, like, well, most often
And,
they're
and
gonna fight. But flip side, I think, is what, and again, this is where it's a sticky wicket, because there's always the two sides, is like, there's a lot of, there's a lot of kids that, might be thinking they're taking one thing and there's fentanyl in it, and then they OD. And so there a risk that they might not have, they might have snorted something, they might have ingested something. They're not taking it as like an injectable in, like,
correct.
like on the side of a street. So
Right.
that's where, there is still the risk of safety, that they're gonna, wake up and become, they're gonna fight. But so there are some safety aspects there as well. But I think they wanna take the stigma out of, like, people having Narcan and using Narcan, and, like, on loved ones, on friends, if you're, if you're out and you're at a party, because that's where things are happening and kids are running away. It's happening more and more that there is, uh, a lack of knowledge about what people are taking, and
Yeah.
it's unintentionally they're taking opiates that they are then, you know, um, passing from or ODing on, and not getting, not getting Narcan at times. So I think there's, the both sides. You're right. I think absolutely, if you're gonna walk up to someone that you don't know on the street and you're like, "Hey, I got Narcan in my pocket," I'm gonna, you look like you're ODing. I'm gonna give it to you.
That is what's happening because it's so
Correct.
easily, you can get Narcan anywhere, and that's great.
There's actually, where I live, there's Narcan boxes, like, in
They're in the
parks and
shelves.
streets. Yeah, like, just there's AEDs and Narcan, and it's, which I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing."
Yeah.
Just like an AED, it's a weather safe Narcan box,
Interesting.
and it alerts, right? So they know when you're opening it and taking it, so that it's being used in whatever, not for, like, narking purposes, but so that they can refill it and send rescuers, so it automatically calls EMS to come and support. But, it is, yeah, but I think that there is a safety impact that is pretty large.
It needs to get equal attention. The safety
I
aspect needs
agree.
to be emphasized, and people need to be aware. That's all.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to save a life. Who doesn't? Get it? I'd be excited about it. However, it just, like I've said it enough, but we just need to emphasize the safety. And one other thing is breaths concern me with this population. If you're doing mouth to mouth with any population, really, because you got to concern yourself. I mean, communicable disease is obvious. However, what people don't know at the lay rescuer, the community CPR classes, is emesis, which is vomit, fancy term for vomit. So you have vomit, potentially blood. You don't know what might happen. It might look okay, and you put your mouth on them, and
Oh, I mean,
anything
that
from
scares
it.
me so much because
Lung butter.
even before, the AHA and, ARC like supported hands only CPR in public, like I have always been so skeeved by mouth to mouth, like
I would
always. And I like before COVID, like it's like ew. I've done
yeah,
mouth to mouth
before
with my
COVID,
daughter. Yeah, like
and then
I
COVID came, and it was like, don't even go near the person.
Oh, yeah, then it was like, yeah, then it was not even then I
But
was like, "Thank goodness I don't have to even." But I remember being, like a younger nurse and out running after a night shift, and I remember someone being like, "Oh, call whatever," and so I'm like, "Oh," so I run over and I'm like, "What's up?" And somebody's ODing, and they were, like, starting to turn blue because they lost their airway, and there was just it was so gross, and they're like, "Do mouth to mouth," and I was like, "Oh, no." So I just did a jaw lift, and I opened it
right,
up, and he started to move some air. I was like
yeah,
and
it
then
just
and then, EMS came and they bagged him, but I was like, "Thank
it
goodness."
doesn't look like a mannequin. Our mannequins are clean as a whistle,
Oh, yeah.
so that's not
Mm.
what you're putting your mouth on.
No, 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 sir, and
And
I have no interest in doing that.
just secondly, or thirdly, wherever I'm at this point, I don't want it to just say, give breaths. That's an elective. That's up to the
Right.
person that is approaching the scene. Okay, I was told to give breaths to Narcan. Does it just, it's up to you.
I elect not to. I
I
mean,
elect to not do it as well in that
full
situation.
disclosure.
And again, mouth to mouth, we could talk about in another episode. You have to
Whoa.
appreciate the context of the situation. Will I do it? Yes, I will. And I'll explain in which circumstances
Right.
in another pod. But
Yeah.
in this case, hell no.
Mm-mm.
Unless I have a BVM and PPE and my scene is safe.
Agreed.
So that's that.
And then I think our last thing that we wanted to touch on just for
Oof,
this, like,
so much.
recap, our initial thoughts was TTM.
Oof, that's a biggie. We better
A
be
big, big ball of wax.
major there.
We're in. Just our initial thoughts, I think, for the last couple of minutes is just because I think Mike and I kind of agree and kind of disagree. I think it's our second kind of codehead disagreement a little bit. But when the TTM2 study came out, and
2021.
people were like, "Oh, great, we don't have to cool anymore." And so
Yeah,
people
that's all
stopped
done.
doing it. Yeah, in the US and whatnot. I erred on the side of no, not I feel like it's
No, I'm
comparing
with you on this. I'm with you.
apples to oranges. Yeah, we did talk about it a little bit, but offline.
Mhm.
But I think, the TTM2 study was done outside the US, in a different, or a lot of the data came from, outside the US, where there is more bystander CPR. There was less time without folks getting compressions. So when they got ROSC, they were able to, there was just less time off the chest. So there was more compression, there was more circulation. Then, they got ROSCs, they were able to, come in, whatever.
Perfect
They
code.
kept them normothermic, great.
Mhm.
But in the US, we don't have as much bystander CPR. We have a lot more time. We've discussed a myriad of
Totally.
reasons why we will continue, but I just think it's comparing apples to oranges. We were having pretty good outcomes in the US when people were pretty standardly using cooling post arrest. And then all of a sudden people stopped. And now we're seeing a flip where, like, I think I told you the other day, there was a patient that was febrile. And they're like, well, we're not cooling. And I said, well,
Right, right.
it
We don't
doesn't
do
mean
that
let
anymore.
them burn up, man. That means like keep them normothermic. But,
Right.
you know, It's just when we're having good outcomes, I kind of take umbrage with all of a sudden just
No,
stop pulling the e-brake and changing all of our protocols. Even though it is a
seriously.
large body of research, I'm not married to, again, all the time. I think it
Well,
should be at least
situational.
yeah.
No, and we are not in disagreement. We are absolutely in complete accord with this topic, because what are we trying to do ultimately with our ROS patient? Reduce the risk of ischemic reperfusion injury and meticulous avoidance of fever. So whether you're going for targeted normothermia or targeted hypothermia, the end result that you're trying to achieve is the same.
Yep.
And I'm with you. I don't want to throw it to the wayside. There's, in my opinion, a time to do it. It all depends. But like you said, it's like when you put out a statement, so to speak, an e-brake. I like the way you stated that, to we don't cool anymore. So like, but they're hot as hell. Like, we need to maybe cool them a bit to get them normal thermic. Normal thermic doesn't mean, "No, we're not going to cool them." Like,
Yeah.
we
And
need to
now
cool them.
all these Arctic suns are just sitting there and,
Yeah. Collecting dust. It's similar to mechanical CPR, like the way we talk about it.
Mhm.
I'm not going to that topic, but the way it's like, no, we don't do that anymore.
Right.
Like, it really requires a lot more, a more thoughtful approach.
Yeah.
And that's why we exist here. We're trying to break that down,
We are. Yeah, we are. We're going to break it
and we
down.
want community feedback as always.
Yep. And so we want your thoughts, we want your opinions, and we're going to deep dive into all these topics coming up soon. So thanks for being with us, Codeheads.
Thank you.
There are 1 million ways to die. We just wanna talk about